How to recover an Outlook.com account without the recovery phone or email. Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. I get a series of questions that basically all boil down to something like this. I've forgotten my Hotmail password and I no longer have access to the phone number I set up on the account when I created it years ago. What do I do? What I want to be explicit about is that without proper preparation, it is possible that you may not get your account back at all, ever. I'm going to walk through the steps that I believe you should take that will improve the odds of your getting your account back. But there is no guarantee. It is quite possible, and unfortunately, it happens all too often, where folks in this situation lose their account forever. If there's one thing to take away from this video, it's this. It is critical, absolutely critical, that you keep your account recovery information up to date. Be it a phone number that changes, change the phone number in your recovery information. Or an email address that you no longer use, find an email address that you do use and set that up as your recovery information, and more. The bottom line here, though, is that ultimately it is your responsibility to keep this information up to date so that you can continue to access your account. Here's what we'll do if we can't. So here we are. I went to Outlook.com and it redirected me here to the sales page at Microsoft.com for Microsoft Outlook. That's fine. We'll click on Sign In. This gets you to the familiar Microsoft Sign In page. I'm going to use my askleo example at hotmail.com account. And I'm going to assume that I have forgotten my password. I do not know my password. I do, but let's assume I forgot it. So step one is, of course, to click on Forgot Password. Since I have two-factor authentication turned on this account, they could use that second factor to verify who I am. However, let's say either I never set up two-factor authentication or I've lost the second factor as well as my password. So use a different verification option. Now, this is where it will give you an option to send an email message to one or more of your recovery accounts. So in this case, I have a couple of email addresses associated with this account as recovery addresses. In my case, yeah, they're all valid. I've got the Authenticator app. I've got the first email address. I've got the second email address. But let's assume that you don't. Let's assume that either you never set up recovery addresses or you no longer have access to the accounts to which those recovery addresses are sent. So I don't have any of these. Did you set up a recovery code? Well, in my case, yes, I did. It's part of my article, Setting Up a Microsoft Account Recovery Code. I strongly suggest you do this in addition to setting up your recovery email address and recovery phone numbers. However, let's assume we don't have this. We either never set it up or we can't find the recovery code that we did set up. Nope. Okay, recover your account. This then is the process, the beginning of what I believe to be a manual account recovery process. I'm going to type in a contact email address. And of course, yes, there's a CAPTCHA. Boy, let's see if I'm correct here. We'll see if that does the right thing. So they sent a code to the email address I specified. This was an email address I specified just now. This is not one of the original recovery email addresses. It's one that I'm using today. So by definition, then it should be me. That recovery address, this address that I'm using right now, is by definition me. But they do need to make sure that I have access to that address. So they have sent me a recovery code to that address. All that does is verify that I am the person at that email address. Now, in this case, my security code is 317308. 317308. And we'll say verify. Poof. Now, account recovery. Tips to get back into your account. Now, you'll notice that they're asking for a lot of different information. I'm going to go ahead and I don't remember exactly what I used. I probably used, actually, I'm going to say I used the, I'm going to use the birth date of askleo as the birth date for this account. I'm in Washington. That hasn't changed. My zip code, Woodinville. And answer your security question, mother's birthplace. Again, did you set this up? And did you set this up with an answer you now remember? Every little bit of information is important. Every little bit of information you can get correct increases the likelihood of your being able to recover your account. I'm going to leave it blank since perhaps I forgot where my mom was born. Enter a valid first name. Well, obviously, that's not my first name then. We will go for, let's see if this works. Askleo, last name of example. Hopefully, the person reviewing this will realize that regardless of how it's structured or whether or not it has the exclamation point, that matches. And we'll hit next. Okay, other passwords you've used for this account. In other words, if you have changed your password at any time during your ownership of this account, provide those old passwords. Presumably, only you could have known those passwords. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you changed it because there was a breach. I don't know. But again, your ability to provide this level of information as part of the recovery information increases the chances of being able to recover your account. Have you ever used any of these other products with this account? I certainly have used Outlook.com or Hotmail. Have you ever purchased something from Microsoft? I have not. In this case, I believe that if you say yes, they might very well ask you for things like the credit card that you used in order to continue to verify your identity. Email addresses of contacts you've recently sent email to. Again, this is all additional information that stacks the deck in favor of your getting your account back. Remember who it was you sent email messages to recently, and especially also exact subject lines of your recently sent emails. Honestly, I don't remember those, but maybe you do. Maybe you have some options to do that. I'll hit next. You didn't provide us with enough information to confirm your identity. I'm going to stop at this point in the process because honestly, I don't need to recover this account, but it gives you an idea of the hoops you're going to have to jump through if you want to recover your account. If this form accepts your entry, you wait. I don't know how long you wait. The issue is that there's some other process that happens that takes all of the information you've provided and matches it to the characteristics of your account. If they can confirm with enough certainty that you are the rightful account holder, you'll get a message from them with the next steps. Usually, I would assume it's a link to set a new password. On the other hand, again, it is not uncommon to get a message back that says, nope, we weren't able to verify that you are the legitimate account holder. You can certainly try this process again if you want to. Provide more information, provide better information, provide the information that you believe to be as accurate as humanly possible, because that is the only way that you're going to get your account back. So, why all this hassle? This certainly seems like we're having to jump through a lot of hoops. Well, I want to be clear. Notice, as we worked through this process, we were given several opportunities to provide information that we had set up ahead of time. Recovery emails, recovery phone numbers were not included since I don't have that on this account, but had you had recovery phone numbers, those would have been part of it. The two-factor authentication code, the Microsoft recovery code that you would have set up earlier, all of those things, any of those things would have gotten you potentially back into your account. But without anything, well, it becomes a much, much harder problem to solve. And here's the issue. You want to do this because you legitimately own the account. Hackers are doing this all the time. They are using these kind of recovery mechanisms to break into accounts. That means that Microsoft must, and I say must, err on the side of caution. If they can't prove that the account belongs to you, they shouldn't give it to you. Because if their standards are low enough, they could give it to a hacker. And trust me, what we've just gone through has probably already saved your account from being hacked without you ever knowing a thing. So, what should you do? Well, hopefully it's obvious by now. Before your account gets hacked, make sure you've got a recovery email address and that it's current, that it's an email address at which you can get a message. Set up a recovery phone number, a phone number at which you can get a text message if at all possible. I don't recall if Microsoft does landlines or not. If they do, great, you could do a landline. Otherwise, you'll need to do an SMS-capable number. Set up a Microsoft account recovery code. Again, this is one of those things where you set it up before you need it, you squirrel it away somewhere, and no matter where you are, whether or not you have email or phone, the account recovery code, in theory, would get you back into your account. Make absolutely certain that all of this information is kept up to date. This is how people lose accounts. Absolutely, this is how they lose accounts. Like I said at the beginning, the phone number changed and they didn't update it in their account. Keep it all up to date. Consider adding two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication will certainly help prevent your account from being hacked, from somebody else getting into it when they shouldn't. But as we've seen, having that second factor in the process of account recovery can help you get your account back if you've lost everything else. And if you're in a situation right now where you've not been able to get back into your account and everything we've discussed can't be made to work for you, then A, you've lost your account, and I'm very, very sorry. But I know of no other way to get it back. And B, please, please learn from this experience and set up your next account or your other accounts with all of the appropriate recovery and security information you can so that you never, ever have to be in this position again. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/16095. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.